In this video and audio, you're going to be learning or listening to and understanding what I've learned from training Kawan Vasil. So what I've realized and learned by training him. Okay, so about a month and a half, 2 months ago, trained the generational talent known as Kawan from Brazil, has a Nike contract worth $3.5 million. I'm going to be sharing with you what I've learned by training with him or training him and the conversations I have with his dad along the way. Okay, so I think there's going to be a lot that you can take away from this. And I hope you do. And if you do, please share this with somebody so they can take value from it as well. Okay, so the first part is, here's like the 4 main points. Okay, obviously, super skilled, super talented. Like, that's not even a question. Otherwise, you wouldn't be getting contracts like that and have all the publicity that he does. Okay, that's very important. And there's going to be a couple of things that separate him, in my opinion, from the rest, which you'll find out shortly. Okay, maybe there are kids in the United States with what you call higher skill, better footwork, better ability on the ball in terms of like using their feet, right? So like, they're very good with their feet in tight and close space. Okay, maybe. He's not physically powerful, so he's smaller. He's got a smaller frame, but he's very agile. He's very quick. Okay, he's left-footed, so he's got a very good left foot, very strong, and he's got a good right foot. Right, so this is like the profile of the player type of thing from a skill and ability standpoint. Okay, now this is where the separation starts happening. So then, before the session and after the session, his dad was showing us some clips of his son, right? So things that he was doing in games and whatnot. And what immediately stood out was these things, right? There's 4 of them. So first one, passion, desire, determination. These 3 things, huge. Passion, desire, determination. Determination to win. Passion to win, to be the best. Desire to be the best. Okay? Very good at finishing. Unbelievably good, especially with his left foot. Wow. Crack. Scores a lot of goals. Scores a lot of goals, especially in the final third. Very, very good. Okay? This is probably a very important, obviously very important, but impact and influence on the game. His ability to affect with impact in a positive direction on the game. So again, a lot of goals, chance creation, taking people on, being that main influence, what I call like grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck and saying, this is my game and I own this field. Okay? And this is probably the most important piece here. And that's his ability to be humble, or is a humble person, especially at his age, being, he's a 2012. So at his age, the way that he interacts with other people, always a smile on his face, willing to take pictures. He doesn't think like, maybe in his mind he thinks he's a superstar, but he exhibits a very humble person. And I think that is huge, because if you let this thing get to your head where you think you're a superstar, then you're going to start going like this very quickly. And that's not even just about him. I'm just speaking in general. If you think, for example, like I've seen kids here in this country that think they're the best thing since sliced bread. And it's like, well, go to the real world, South America or Europe, play in legitimate tournaments that have top level teams, and you'll see the level. You're not close. So this is why I always act, like I say, top level kids in this country, in the United States, are average at best in Europe or in South America. Average. Now, could there be an exception to the rule where you have a Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna? Yes. But the average American elite player is not top in Europe. They're average, right? So, or I should say top American players are average in Europe or South America. Okay, just make sure that's clear. But these 4 things are huge, right? So passion, finishing, impact, influence, humble. Very important. Okay, now he has a trait that you typically only see with older and or professional players. And it's really the pro players that I think ultimately separate the hell out of these guys. Okay? And this is, in my opinion, is what separates him from the rest so early. The reason why he's on his trajectory that he is now is because of this one key detail, right? I think it's game-changing for him, and it's something you typically see at a much higher level. So that's what you're going to see here in a moment, or I'll explain in a moment. And it's this: the ability to rapidly change in his mind in a matter of a millisecond. So what this means is he'll have an idea of what he wants to do, right? So he's about to receive a ball, or maybe he's been scanning, whatever. And the ability to have an idea already in his head what he wants to do, but then to be able to successfully change that because the circumstances has changed and execute. So there's a clip his dad showed us, and he was dribbling, looking, getting ready to shoot, A defender comes out of nowhere to cut. A defender comes out of nowhere to close him down. He cuts him. Second defender cuts him and then finish. And scored, by the way. And we were like, wow. Like, that was incredibly impressive. And there was another clip where he's faced like this. He's turning this way. He already scanned once we saw his teammate. As he's turning and receiving the ball, defender comes and he had to toe poke it out to get it to his teammate versus turning and passing. A lot of players will get stuck in that moment and lose the ball because they hadn't thought of another solution. So how quickly he's able to obviously be aware ahead of time, but change his mind in a millisecond based on what's happening, like that is incredibly hard to teach. And you only see that, like I said, usually with much higher level skilled players. So are there things that you can do to help train that aspect? Yes, but it's not a guarantee that it will work because it's also how quickly the player can process it in their mind. And I'm going to tie to this in a second. Partly why I think he's there now. And I don't think this piece gets enough credit in the sense of the development aspect of players, which I'm going to highlight in a moment. But it's his ability to completely change his mind in milliseconds. Like, I have to keep reinforcing this piece. Like, you have to understand how important this piece is. Obviously, you can have an idea what you want to do. But landscape of the game, defender's position, teammate's position, goalkeeper's position, is going to change. So you can take that picture, might change, and you might have to be able to have 1, 2, 3 options in your head already. And the ability to change between the three of them has to be very, very quick and proficient. Okay? Now, let's see. So, just to highlight that, the best way to explain this is speed of thought. How quickly his mind can process the information. Again, using that millisecond, in and out. And still execute proficiently. Okay, now, the last remaining benefit that typically doesn't get enough attention or isn't talked about enough, or I put credit here, but is football heritage. So, to summarize this for you, football heritage is when you have a background in the game. So, opposite side, my family had no background. My mom and dad, no background. Grandparents, no background. Okay? Not athletes in any way, shape, or form. His dad, professional player. Good level, high level. Brother is, I think, just signed a professional contract. His older brother. So, hopefully what you're gathering from this is that has impact. That the ability to have influence, heritage, changes the landscape. And I don't have this remembered verbatimly, but I remember reading a study that said about 80% of the professional players have some sort of lineage with football heritage. That means somebody in the family played. So a great example would be like Frank Lampard's dad played. His uncle played as a coach. Harry Redknapp is his uncle. And it's like football heritage. Like, you can't make this stuff up, right? Because then once you've played to a certain level, you know what it takes. Like, his dad knows what it takes. And then the kid, Kawan, has seen his brother play. So he's getting more of that at a very high level. And it's like this all like adds up, compounding. So you can get in a case like him, you can get a great head start by having that advantage. And it's life. I mean, you can't take that away. And I'm trying to highlight this because I don't think there's enough credit to it. Like, his dad played professionally. So he knows what it takes, what he needs to do, how to help him improve, how to manage the environment, all these type of things. He knows what to do. He knows where to put him. He knows how to do all these aspects, how to take care of his body, how to perform, how to take care of the food, all this stuff. And it's like, it's so undervalued when you have the heritage. So I just want to make sure that that's like crystal clear. So like that piece there is just, it's like a cheat code almost. Like, let's say like I was at 80% because I had to figure this stuff out along the way and there's so much stuff I didn't know. They're getting like a 50% like head start, if not higher, when you have football heritage. And it's funny because every person that I've seen that has football heritage, the kids, you can see that they have like higher football intelligence, right? So like they understand the game better, they play better, they have better skill because they've just been involved in the game for so long and they have that, it's like in their blood, bro. That's probably the best way to explain it. So I hope that makes sense. That's what I've learned and realized from training Kawan and just the reflection on it. And hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, share this with somebody because I think this is important for people to understand. And the more that you can get into that heritage aspect, at least from an educational standpoint, the greater chance you have of success. So appreciate you guys. I will see you soon and more videos coming.